The Four Horsemen have always sort of intrigued me. You know, this story about the end of the world coming, and a lot of my work sort of centers on this idea that you know, we're making choices every day, and those choices are changing our world, and sometimes not for the better. Most times not for the better. The signs that they lay out in Revelations are these huge, grandiose signs that I don't think necessarily apply to us anymore today. We don't worry so much about conquest. You know, famine is not something that we worry about so much here now in, you know, in the U.S. So I changed the names of the horsemen to be things that are sort of smaller and subtler that are, I think, are the signs that we should be looking for. My first horseman wasn't conquest, it was silence. And the idea is that, you know, by being silent, we're not communicating, we are not learning from our past, because, you know, the communication is the only way that we sort of can remember the things that, that we've done wrong. And then silence leads to decay. So the second horseman was decay. And decay was sort of about decay of social order, decay of our own bodies, decay of the environment. And, you know, that story sort of came from driving around out west, and even here in North Carolina on the East Coast, and seeing, like, you know, a house that's falling down, but we've moved 25 feet to the right and built a new house instead of fixing the thing that we had, or, you know, we sprawl out instead of fixing our downtowns, we sprawl out. And that was sort of where the beginning of decay began, and then I began to realize that it actually encompassed a lot more than that. The third horseman was consumption, and it was originally going to be about a lot about just sort of consuming the earth in general, and then while I was doing that one, there was the oil spill in the Gulf, and I then started incorporating a lot of oil sort of imagery in them. The fourth horseman is death, and he's the only horseman that I left as the original Four Horsemen, because I wanted there to be, for someone who was familiar with the Four Horsemen, something for them to hold on to, so that they would recognize this last character, Death. Today, you know, there's sort of the question everyone asks, you know, should I go off to some, like, school that's a proprietary school that just teaches you how to be an animator, and then they just eject you out the backside and you are, like, you know, what that studio wants? Or, you know, should I spend the time going to NC State and getting a degree? And I think that, you know, spending the time getting the degree, immersing yourself in other, you know, in the huge opportunities there are here, you know, in the vast number of classes that you have to take, they all come back and help you in the long run, because you are a three-dimensional person at that point. You have a story to tell, because animation is about, you know, telling a story. You know, whether you're doing film production, editing, you're telling that story, and so you come at things with a more sort of research-oriented background, and you know. But if you come out of, you know, the smaller schools, you don't necessarily have that. That's not their primary goal, is to give you that. But NC State is to make you a well-rounded individual, you know, so that you can bring more to the table than just, like, the skill set that maybe that company is looking for. You'll have a lot more to sort of bring there.